All right, well, hello everyone and happy Friday. It's digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four. Of course, the live stream where I go through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. I started the stream a little bit early today. We have a lot to jump into and a very short amount of time to get into it. So I decided to start the stream a little bit early, but wherever you're watching Before the Four this afternoon, whether it's on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a bit of your Friday afternoon here. Now first, let's begin with a look at the radar and what to expect weather-wise over the weekend. Last I've heard, the rain should be on its way out and it should be a beautiful weekend here in North Alabama. Definitely long due. First Alert meteorologist Jeff DeNoyer with the latest. Jeff?
A very good afternoon to everybody. Friday, fabulous afternoon after that front move through, pushed the showers and thunderstorms out, dropping the humidity, and it really has turned out to be a delightful day. Parkway in Huntsville, traffic picking up, a lot of sunshine out there, a little bit of a breeze. Winds have been gusting up to about 20 to 25 miles an hour, and it will stay breezy through the early evening before the winds back off. That will allow temperatures to drop back into the upper 50s tonight with clear conditions, and it really does turn out to be a pleasant evening. Beautiful weather for Trash Panda baseball, beautiful weather for patio time, beautiful weather for a fire pit. 3-day forecast, gorgeous Saturday and Sunday. I know when you see 30% chance of isolated thunderstorms, you think it's going to be a really bad day, but I think it's going to be extremely isolated and more areas will stay dry than get wet. Temperatures in the mid 80s. Monday looks good too, mid to upper 80s, plenty of sunshine. It'll stay warm for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we track some rainfall for the end of the week. Looks like both Thursday and Friday, some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some of that rain could be heavy at times, and temperatures will be in the mid to upper 80s for your daytime highs.
And need I even say it, First Alert Weather Extra that goes on tonight at 9:30. Jeff DeNoyer will be back here in the CTV Center and he'll have all the latest that he's seeing on the radar. So definitely not going to want to miss that. And also tomorrow morning at 8:15 a.m. as well as 4:30 p.m. there'll be additional weather extras for you all. So you're just not going to want to miss that. It's always a great time, and Jeff has a lot of fun with it, so make sure to tune in and watch on Facebook. Leave a comment if you feel so led, but yes, weather extra. But now, moving out to the Shoals, where a Muscle Shoals woman was left paralyzed from the neck down after a tree fell on her during the May 20 storms. She says she's only alive by the grace of God. 48's Aria Pond spoke with her and has her story.
On May 20th, Angel Gatry just finished dropping food off to her sister at the 911 call center down the road when the storms rolled in. It got really bad here in Muscle Shoals. That day changed her life forever.
And the next thing I know is like I'm slowing down because I couldn't see. The tree just fell. It's like out the sky.
Gatry was in her car on Reservation Road with her son and her brother when a tree fell on top of her car. They were okay, but Gatry was hit hard from the tree that seemingly crushed her car. She says she remembers every second of the terrifying incident.
You know, just remembering all it took for them to cut it off and cut me out the car. I was just so shocked. I think I'm still wrapping my mind around the tree falling out the sky the way it did.
She was rushed to a nearby hospital, but eventually sent to Vanderbilt due to the extent of her injuries. Gatry tells me that her prognosis is not looking good. She's paralyzed from the chest down and her motor functions are off. However, she says she will not let this rule her life.
I'm claiming, God's best, whatever that looks like. I really just want to find a happy place within myself, no matter the outcome.
She's in physical therapy and should be out of the hospital in the next week or so. Gatry says she is so grateful to live in the community that she does.
I'm like, overwhelmed with love and joy and really appreciation for every prayer, every dollar sent, every message. Like it's keeping me going.
Gatry says she's so thankful to be alive by the grace of God and that she's ready to prove to doctors that she has the willpower to heal as best she can. Reporting in Colbert County, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Truly a terrifying situation there. Aria Pons killed it. Thank you, Aria. And now a story, in case you missed it, from 48's Margot Gray regarding mental health services here in the Tennessee Valley. Now, Jari Williams and River Hammett, two were recently arrested for murder. Both struggled with mental health issues. Williams was charged with the shooting death of a Circle K gas station clerk in Harvest. His mother says he was suffering from schizophrenia and severe depression. And Hammett, who battles psychotic and depressive disorder, he was charged for the stabbing death of a man outside of the Western Sizzlin in Boaz late last year. Margot spoke with the families of both, who say they were just trying to get their son's help. Margot Gray reports.
I knew that day something bad was going to happen.
The last time he ran away from me, he left me a suicide note saying he was going to jump off the Decatur Bridge.
Two different families fighting familiar fights. The morning of October 29th, Tindra Hammett took her 26-year-old son River to a psychiatrist after she was notified he missed two back-to-back appointments.
His doctor's appointment, he walked out of the doctor's appointment violently that morning.
Before leaving, she called the mental health officer for Etowah County, hoping to get him admitted to a facility immediately. After the officer asked River directly, "Do you want to harm yourself or someone else?" he replied, "I want to be left alone." Despite River's psychiatrist also recommending to hold him, Tindra says she was told to file a petition with the probate's office in Marshall County because she says the officer told her,
I could take him, but they're not going to hold him. We physically, unless he's willing to go to the hospital, a person doesn't have to go. They do not have to go. If they don't want to go, you have to prove that there's a reason that they need to be put in that institute or to the emergency room.
The next couple of hours were a blur, dropping off River at Western Sizzlin in Boaz, where he left his car, before driving to Marshall County to fill out involuntary commitment paperwork.
I let him out, thinking that the quieter I can take care of this situation and the faster I can take care of this situation, the quicker I could get River some help before he harms anybody.
A call from his doctor turned her back around to Etowah County, but again, she was sent back to Marshall County because River was physically there.
I felt, as a mom, I felt something sick inside. Something wasn't right. I drove all the way back to Gunnersville. When I got up here, the judge was already gone to lunch. I filled out the papers.
But she couldn't complete the process.
She called me about 4 o'clock and she said, "Miss Hammett, if you come in first thing in the morning, finish filling out these papers and speak to the judge, we'll send a commitment order out or send a subpoena out." So I said, "Okay, thank you." And then right after that, a friend called and said, "Have you seen the news?"
Breaking news right now in Boaz. One person is dead, another in custody in a homicide investigation outside a restaurant in Boaz.
Nothing could have prepared me for what had took place. I felt anger and hurt like you can't believe because, I raised a child that just took someone else's life.
You don't expect to have to fight someone you love.
Every day was a fight for Charles Watson when his 13-year-old grandson would not take his medication. With a suicide letter left behind, deputies later found his grandson in Fayetteville. He was transported to a children's facility in South Alabama, where he was medicated and stabilized for mood dysregulation disorder.
After 2 weeks, it's come get him. We're done. Well, we've done all we can do.
From experience, he knew the cycle would repeat itself and only get worse.
Because I told him, I said, he is 13 and a half years old. In 6 months, he will have the say-so of whether or not he wants a doctor to even examine him or give him a medication. If you don't get him in there now, you've lost, and you've lost him because he's not going to be able to be changed.
In Alabama, children who are 14 years old or older have the right to consent to vaccinations and mental health treatment unless they are deemed incapacitated.
These so-called adults in Montgomery ain't getting it done. I don't know why that they're not considering the children of the state.
And after enough fighting and not enough money to place him in a children's facility on his own, he then made a difficult decision.
The state told me that they could put him in a facility if he was under their care, foster care or, adoptive care. Otherwise, it was all on me. My only option was I gave up custody of him to DHR, and I put the ball in their court. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done because he's been bounced from one place to another all his life.
When a case makes it to a county's probate judge who handles involuntary commitment petitions, parents or grandparents have hit a wall. I sat down with Madison County Probate Judge Frank Barger and the Probate Court's Director of Mental Health Programs, Tammy Leith.
The majority of what we see, though, it is someone who has hit the bottom, where they've exhausted the resources that are available to them. They don't know where to turn, and in many cases, they've exhausted what their support system looks like. So they have just strung out mom, dad, their spouse, other loved ones that have done all that they feel that they can, and ultimately they end up before the court.
The process to commit someone can start one of three ways: someone walking into the probate office, a trip to the emergency room, or a 911 call.
They're being held on an intent to commit, and there's a petition before the court for consideration. And so that 3 to 4 day mark is the day we actually have a hearing for that person. At that point, they are either at Huntsville Hospital or they are at Wellstone and have been stabilized, placed on a treatment plan, and a physician feels that they are in a position to make a recommendation to the court on how that patient should move forward.
Contrary to popular belief, a commitment is not a long-term solution. It is a stabilization process.
Someone who is an inpatient commitment for up to 150 days, we can renew that for 300, but that is a very rare occurrence because of bed availability.
And therein lies the larger issue. The state of Alabama has fewer than 400 beds for mental health patients. 60 of those beds are in Madison County, which serves patients from all across North Alabama. Over the past few years, involuntary commitments in Madison County hit a peak in 2023 at 589. Once the patient is stabilized with necessary medication, they are released.
I would want group homes. I would want more beds for further stabilization. After they leave there, that they transition into a group home setting and then become independent. It's my wish.
And we don't have enough.
No.
We have them, but we don't have enough.
We do not have enough. The waiting list for group homes is tremendous. I think at least 100 days out.
Number of beds that we need for long-term care and transitional care is certainly a crisis point at times.
That's exactly what turned up in a 2024 survey of all probate judges in the state, where the number one priority listed was better access to long-term care, including adding more inpatient beds and state hospitals, with a caveat, assuming there is limitless funding and resources. And that's where the proverbial push and pull comes in. Barger got creative, now using 100% of passport application fees he receives to fund mental health programs.
And what that does for us is it allows us to treat people on an outpatient basis by having them report to us every other week. We manage their care for 150 days. They interact with a case manager every day. We monitor their medication.
But that doesn't happen in every county, which brings me back to Tindra Hammett.
There should be something to continue, someplace to send the people that need help where they're not just thrown to the street. There's group homes available for someone that was addicted to heroin or meth. There's those homes. There's even a home for somebody that's addicted to alcohol. There's those homes. But there's nothing for somebody that has a mental illness and a mental break.
Such a great report there from our own Margot Gray. And now we're going to head to break, but coming up after the break, we'll talk about some things you can do in the Tennessee Valley this weekend. I'll see you all in 1 minute. All right, well, hello and welcome back to Before the Four. Now let's talk about some more things to do across the Tennessee Valley this weekend. A few car shows happening, one in Huntsville and another in Florence. The one in Huntsville tomorrow is going on outside of Toyota Field. The inaugural Rocket City Spring Tune-Up, hosted by Spokes and Vogues and Rocket City Octane, begins tomorrow morning at 9. I recently spoke with Spokes and Vogue's owner, Lee Adams, on a range of things such as tomorrow's showcase, his business, and some of the famous people he's gotten the chance to customize cars for. Let's take a listen. Talk about your business and what you do here in the community.
It's for the last 2 to 3 years, it's been humbling and it's been really, really surreal. We've gotten to work with some icons, you know, from Snoop Dogg all the way to Too Short to DJ Envy of the Breakfast Club and Bun B and Rick Ross and a lot of big names. It's just good to have something that we can call our own that comes from the city of Huntsville and be able to reach out and have these artists and stuff see our work abroad and then, you know, reach back out to us to want to get work done for their cars. Right.
And talk about what it was like working with people like that, Snoop Dogg, of course, Rick Ross, like you mentioned, Too Short.
And what I really what I want to say is about that is, you know, of course we know these people are like mega stars, but at the end of the day, they're just like me and you talking. Like they're human beings. They have knowledge of cars. They know what they want. So we kind of just stay into the realm of what the idea that they have that they want that car to look like. So we try to just bring their dream to life. But working with them it's a breeze. They're cool to work with, easy conversation, and then we just keep them updated as we progress along on the bill.
And do you stick with Cadillacs or do you like to drive something else every now and then?
I'm a American car guy.
Yes.
If it isn't a Cadillac, a Lincoln, a Ford, or a Chevy, you probably won't catch me in it. Like, you know, me and Rick Ross had this conversation as far as like, man, what if you know, you just came and you just wanted to, if Bentley wanted to give you a car, I'd probably just go trade it for 10 Cadillacs. Or something like that. So that's just, I'm really a American car guy, right? So.
That's right. Such an awesome interview with Lee Adams. Again, the Rocket City Spring Tune-Up that's going on tomorrow just outside of Toyota Field. It starts at 9 and then ends at 2. So if you have tickets to the Trash Pandas game tomorrow, you might want to show up a little bit early, see some of these really cool cars that are going to be there, and make a whole day out of it. Sounds like it will be an awesome time. And you can find more details on the Spring Tune-Up on our website right now. Just go to the 48 Now section. You can also watch that full interview on the 48 Now section on our YouTube channel. And also on Sunday in Florence, the 4th annual Christ in Cars event is happening at Shiloh Missionary Baptist Church. The event focuses on ending gun violence in the community. This year, they will honor the life of 16-year-old Demila Nixon Johnson, who was a beloved member of the congregation, and her tragic death has motivated calls for peace and to promote an end to gun violence. Fellow digital host Tatiana White recently spoke with Pastor Timberlake about this Sunday's event, which will also feature Atlanta hip-hop artist Pastor Troy. Let's take a listen.
So can you just start by telling us a little bit about what Christ in Cars is all about? How did the event first start?
Christ in Cars really originated as a move against gun violence and to bring men together because it's right here at Father's Day weekend. And so it has just grown from surrounding areas, Huntsville, Decatur, Athens, Madison, have all come in and helped make this a great event, especially people in the Shoals area have supported the church. And so we've just been trying to just bring awareness to the gun violence that is happening because there's so many young adults who are being affected by this. And as you just said, Miss Demila, she was a beloved member of our congregation. And so we're going to honor her. Her family's going to be present this coming Sunday and we're going to have a candlelight visual for her as well.
Awesome. And that's amazing that you guys put together something like this every year. I think the more you do it, the more it'll impact people in a good way in the communities.
Yes, ma'am. We're trying our best to just bring the light from the church, from just being inside to outside, so we can impact the community. Church beyond the walls.
Yes, absolutely.
And 48's Faith Delp will have more on Sunday's event coming up in our evening newscast. You can also find those full 48 Now interviews again right now on our website and YouTube channel. Just go to the 48 Now section. And also, make sure to tune in to the 48 Recap with my fellow digital host Tatiana White tomorrow at 2. You can watch it wherever you're watching before the 4 right now. She'll recap all the week's top headlines, and you're just not going to want to miss it. And speaking of things you're just not going to want to miss, let's go into the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. Beware of the bears. 48 Savannah Sap will be bringing you all a story on bears in trash cans out in the Sand Mountain region. Another story you're just not going to want to miss, following up on a Huntsville shooting that happened along Benford Drive early this morning. 48's Callie Neese will have more details on that situation. And finally, a barbecue for a good cause going on here in the Tennessee Valley. 48's Noah Cowell will have more info on that. And these are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscast. And it is 3:53, plenty of time for Facebook fun. That is right, our 48 Facebook question of the day. Now, what is a food that tastes better slightly burnt? Now, I am usually not a fan of some burnt food. Typically, I like my food cooked just right. I don't want to say I like it undercooked, except when it comes to maybe prime ribs, some steak. Now that I can get a medium rare or even rare, and I'm very happy with that. But some food that tastes better slightly burnt. Let's see what you all had to say. Let's see if you can change my mind about burnt food. Is there a food that tastes good burnt? And let's see. Paul Carter said popcorn. Now, I am not so sure about that. I typically don't like my popcorn very burnt. Maybe a little bit well done, but definitely not like burnt. But let's see, bologna. Now, bologna is something I can get behind. Some fried bologna. It is Friday after all. Might have to get some fried bologna for dinner tonight. That sounds great. Now, I agree with that. The fat on steak or pork chops. That tenderness, some people hate it, but I can definitely get behind that. Bacon from Alexis, I agree with that. You gotta love that crispy bacon. I like my bacon crispy 100%. Glenn said hot dogs, especially on the grill. You cook that bad boy up a few minutes longer than you're supposed to, and that thing is good. I agree with that. Hot dogs, fried okra. Yeah, absolutely. I haven't had fried okra in a good minute, so I think that's something I'm going to have to do pretty soon. And marshmallows, you know, camping out by the fire. You got the tent up and you're just making some marshmallows. Maybe you're making some s'mores. Keep that marshmallow in the flame a bit longer than expected. Those marshmallows are so good, and they are so good on a s'more as well. And let's see, we have time for a few more comments. Let's see what else you all had to say. It looks like, let's see, French fries. Now, I will fly this one in. Let's see, I like them crispy. Heather, me and you both, yeah, you get those fries. If you go to Chick-fil-A or Burger King and you ask for no salt, this is actually a fast food hack for you all. If you ask for no salt, they'll make you a fresh batch of fries, and they are delicious. And then you can get them extra crispy. That's another special order you can do. And then you just put some salt on it, and it is just so good. Or honestly, just go and ask for extra crispy or well done. you will get the same. But y'all, thank you all for commenting on today's 48 Facebook question of the day. That's just about all the time I have for Before the Four. I see we have a few comments on Facebook. One from Roberta. Roberta, I hope you are having a great evening. Thank you so much for commenting, and thank you for the well wishes. And Joe Pate, she is watching in Boaz. Joe, thank you so much for watching Before the Four. I hope you have a great weekend. And you all watching Before the Four, I hope you all have a great weekend. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.